Just how strong was Kimimaro? Or better yet, how strong could he have been if he had reached his full potential? Kimimaro is one of these weird characters in Naruto where he's kind of in a vacuum all to himself. Because he shows up, he gets lots of lore dropped about him, lots of hype from Orochimaru and Kabuto that this is the most perfect, ideal body for Orochimaru. He has the greatest taijutsu, Keke Genkai ability. He is the man. Orochimaru is desperate to get his hands on him. He then goes and has a great fight with Gaara and Rock Lee. Unfortunately, due to his sickness, he dies, and then nothing is ever mentioned about him again. And it is one of the oddest spaces in Naruto because most characters are intertwined with other cast members. Even in that arc itself, it's the Sound Four. There's four of them. There's the five Kage. There's the Uchiha clan. There's all these groups of people in the show, the Konoha 12. But then there's Kimimaro, all just off by himself. And it leaves a lot of intrigue from the fan base of just what Kimimaro can do. Now, this is a video that was requested for me. You know who you are, so shout out here for hitting 300 subscribers. And when it was suggested to me, I had to sit down. I'm like, God damn, that's an interesting video idea. Just how powerful could he have gotten? And to answer that, we're going to look through a few different metrics, because at the end of the day, there's not that much information on it, so it's quite subjective. But let me run you through how I came to my decision on where I would place him in the pecking order if he had reached his full potential. We know from the two fights that he has, one off-screen and one against Gaara and Rock Lee. If you can count that as two fights if you want. But off-screen, he effortlessly defeated the Sound Ninja 4. Now, the Sound Ninja 4, together at least, all four of them, are about the equivalent of two Jonin. Two Hidden Leaf Jonin, and two Hidden Leaf Jonin who are named characters. So not just your average riffraff that were, being taken out in the Sand Invasion. Now, they're not special Jonin like Kakashi, and the Sound 4 did ambush them, but it wasn't just a simple ambush and they took them out. There was a back and forth battle. So I do reckon it's safe to say you could scale the Sound 4 altogether as at least two Jonin level threats. If you wanted to downplay it a little bit, it's still over one Jonin. They're still stronger than a Jonin. And Kimimaro effortlessly beats them single-handedly without any trouble at all. More crazy is that he very potentially was also sick at the time, meaning even then, as a 15-year-old boy, he could have also been in a compromised state. But he takes them down effortlessly. He takes down Naruto effortlessly as well. Now, this is a Naruto that's accessing Kurama's chakra a tiny bit to help push him through the fight. He doesn't go chakra cloak or anything like that. But, he's taking this super, super seriously. This is a Naruto that's mastered the Rasengan. And Naruto who literally just before this was having a fight with Sasuke on the rooftop. So, he's absolutely wrecking Naruto. He's absolutely wrecking Rock Lee. Rock Lee shows up to let Naruto go on to confront Sasuke, and Rock Lee holds his ground. We get the awakening of the drunken style, which was a great moment. I'm not going to talk much on their fight at all, because at the end of the day, Rock Lee, while he may have been able to go drunken style, I do think that's a weaker form than he was in the Chunin exams, where he could go the fifth gate. That's hands up. I know the drunken style is great, but in terms of power, I think it's a little bit less than fifth gate Rock Lee. Fifth gate Rock Lee gets defeated by a weaker version than the Gaara that Kimimaro fights. So we're just going to scrap the Lee fight and not even get into it. The only thing it goes to show is that, Kimimaro is not just all about hype in taijutsu. He can throw hands. His fight with Gaara, though. Gaara is able to defend against some of his ultimate attacks. Kimimaro has the dance of the larch. No, that's a defensive one. I forget the name of it. Dance of the Clematis, I think, where he makes a big bone spear on his arm and he traps someone with his spine. Yes, his spine. thanks to his Keke Genkai that can manipulate his bones, he's doing all sorts of wild shit. He captures Gaara, pierces him with the bone, and Gaara is able to stop it with his ultimate defense. And they're going back and forth. Even though they're going back and forth, I consider this a win for Kimimaro, simply because Gaara traps him in sand, is burying him alive, doing all the pressure to try and take Kimimaro down. And even with that, even with his sickness, he's able to sprout the 10,000 bone swords coming from the ground, which Gaara, to his credit, is able to dodge thanks to the power to levitate through sand. Once again, not a power that many people have in Naruto, so it would have taken out a lot of people here. But Gaara's able to levitate. Kimimaro is then able to merge with his own bones, which are crazy, his own bone swords, and then he goes to stab Gaara. And the only reason Gaara doesn't die here is because Kimimaro himself succumbs to his sickness and passes away. So I actually count this, even though technically it's a draw or a win in Gaara's favor in terms of technicalities, I consider this more of a Kimimaro win. Because Gaara admits himself there's nothing he could have done there. That attack would have killed him. So I give this win to Kimimaro, which is incredibly crazy because this man is on death's... Jesus, Jack, I should have just gone with the first one. He is on death's door at this moment. This isn't like an touchy sickness where, you know, he's coughing up blood, he's going blind, he's pushing through the fight. Like, he is literally on death's door. He's only moving his body through his chakra and consciousness to try and force his body to move through sheer willpower, which is absolutely crazy that someone in this state is fighting as well as he does. Now, Gaara is, to kind of give scope to how big of a feat this is to beat Gaara here, Gaara, I reckon, is easily getting to that, maybe not at there yet, just below a high Jonin tier at that point in time. And when I mean high Jonin tier, I mean people more like Kurenai and Asuma and stuff like that. He's not at the Kakashi and Guy level at all. I mean, Guy, even though Guy is stronger here, Guy completely just slaps his sand away type of thing. He's not that level, but I reckon he's approaching that Kurenai Asuma level, simply from all the crazy feats that we get to see from Gaara. So for Kimimaro to be able to then defeat Gaara, and I should stop. Is that a crazy assumption for me to make, just below a high Jonin for Gaara at this stage? I reckon it's pretty fair. He effortlessly takes down people like Dozu. He beats Rock Lee in his 5th gate. He's taking out the people that try to assassinate him. He's taking down, he's fighting with Naruto, who can summon giant toads that Sanins are summoning. Like, he could even be higher than that, but lowballing it, that's where I'm putting him. But Kimimaro being able to defeat him on death's doorstep, mind you, after he has just been fighting for like half an hour, is absolutely crazy, and it needs to be, like, it needs to be studied, it needs to be deciphered, just how strong he is. So if he's on death's door at just below a high Jonin, or at a high low-class Jonin, sorry, at a low-class high Jonin level tier, what's he doing healthy? But then, Jack, you know, it's healthy, but then there's also his full potential. Because you got to remember, Kimimaro is only 15 at this time. 15 years old, which is crazy. Meaning you can scale this guy from healthy to then full potential, which we get into crazy territory there. But those are his 2 fights. That's what we can tell from him. On death's doorstep, low Jonin, low... We know what I'm talking about there with the Jonin stuff. Kurenai Asuma level type of threat, even on death's doorstep. Now, we need to take into account some statements that Orochimaru has made. Kimimaro is the greatest body that he could have gotten, and the only reason he went for Sasuke is because Kimimaro started to get sick. Now, that's Orochimaru essentially saying that his Kimimaru's Kekkei Genkai ability, and I apologize for getting the name, it starts with S. I'm completely blanking on it. But you know all what I'm talking about. The ability to manipulate his bones. This Kekkei Genkai ability is so great that it's worth more than the Sharingan. And Orochimaru's obsessed. He's got a hard-on for mastering every jutsu in the world, meaning the Sharingan should be more valuable to Orochimaru than just sheer strength. It helps him accomplish his dream. But in his mind, Kimimaro is the better vessel to have. And he easily knew about Sasuke. Like, he knew that there was another Uchiha he could get his hands on. But he wants to go for Kimimaro. And that says a lot, I reckon, because he's putting a lot of stock in Kimimaru's potential. The way that he hypes up it being the perfect body as well, and the fact that Kimimaru's abilities revolve more around taijutsu, I would maybe even go as far to say that Kimimaru's Kekkei Genkai is even better than the Hyuga clan's Byakugan in terms of taijutsu. Now, yes, they can shut down your chakra points, but Kimimaru is doing the same thing, the same ultimate defenses by I think that's the dance of the larch, where he just covers himself like a porcupine, meaning no physical attack would reach him. He has the ultimate bone marrow defense where he makes his body super high density, which can take being crushed by an entire ocean of sand that Gaara has, the sand tsunami that Gaara has tried to kill him with. And then his ability to just be so lethal, bones coming out of his hands, his elbows, his knees. He's literally doing what Nenji's is doing, but rather than poking you and shutting off one chakra point, he can just stab you, pierce through your liver, your kidney, completely decapitate you. I reckon it is incredibly more lethal than the Hyuga clan's Byakugan through the Gentle Fist, which would, in my opinion, probably make him the greatest potential for a taijutsu user in the entire series. We know just how powerful the Hyuga clan is, so not in terms of styles, I think it has to be the most powerful taijutsu style. Now, I thought I said 10 for a second there. The 8 inner gates, I would say, is probably stronger, but that's a little bit different because that comes at the cost of your life. So that's such a double-edged sword where, while it's more powerful than Kimimaru's Kekkei Genkai, that Kimimaru's ability to manipulate his bones is more valuable than anyone in the series. Another thing we can consider here, we know that Orochimaru said, and Kabuto said, that taking over the Leaf Village would have been significantly easier with Kimimaru there. To me, that implies that they think that if he was there, whether or not it was just an extra body fighting, or whether or not Orochimaru had taken over his body, either way, the feat still remains the same, that they could have killed the third Hokage. I'm very much inclined to believe as well, because Orochimaru almost beat him already with how he was, with that level of strength. So with healthy Kimimaru, it's definitely going to edge the favors out in Orochimaru's camp. So I do believe that they would have been able to defeat Hiruzen with Kimimaru's help. A healthy Kimimaru. Sasuke, post-time skip, is 15 to 16 years old. I forget the specifics, he might be 16. And in that fight, in that moment, he defeats Orochimaru, which is a nebulous feat with the state that Orochimaru was in. And then he fights Itachi. He kills Deidara. An amazing, amazing fight. I'm going to do analysis on that fight as well. I need to write that down, actually. That's a great fight that we need to get into. Deidara is a Kage level opponent. He completely wipes Deidara with a lot of struggle, but he beats him. He then fights Itachi. Once again, a little bit nebulous in terms of power scaling because Itachi's kind of holding back type of thing. But Itachi is definitely a Kage level shinobi, and he just defeated Deidara anyway, who's Kage level. Meaning this Sasuke is a Kage level shinobi at this time, in my opinion. And he's like 15 or 16. Kimimaro, healthy at that age, I think could do the same thing. I think Kimimaro at 15, 16 completely healthy, I think he's a Kage level opponent. Simply because of the parallels that he shares with Sasuke. With how much Orochimaru was hyping him up, I feel like it's fair to scale, and hear me out because we're going to get to a big but. I think it's fair to scale Kimimaro with Sasuke all the way up until Sasuke activate. Come on, Jack, even it out. All the way until Sasuke activates his Mangekyo Sharingan. Because despite what Orochimaru thinks, if you wanted to argue that Kimimaru's Kekkei Genkai is better than the Sharingan, I would believe you and I could see the reason for it. But once we start getting into Mangekyo Sharingan techniques and then internal Mangekyo Sharingan techniques, it's not even a contest. The Sharingan is the most broken Kekkei Genkai in Naruto. And what might have started out as something that was, supposed to be kind of, balanced, it becomes way, way overpowered, the Mangekyo Sharingan and further. So, I feel like it is very fair to judge Kimimaru's scaling to Sasuke's until Sasuke awakens the Mangekyo Sharingan. And by that logic, we can say that Kimimaro, healthy, is definitely a Kage level opponent. Now, let's pause there. What's everyone thinking? Healthy Kimimaro being Kage level at either 15 when he was Sasuke's age, when Sasuke defeated Itachi, or you can even put on an extra year since Kimimaro was a little bit older when he's 17. Apples and oranges there type of thing. That he's a Kage level opponent. I don't think I think the evidence I've given is pretty sound. I don't think I'm stretching anything there. So I think at the end of the day, healthy Kimimaro would be slotted in as a Kage level shinobi. Now though, where would we put him reaching full potential? Because you could argue, given his age, that healthy Kimimaro at 15 was a Kage level shinobi. I'm happy to say that. But full potential, give him another 3 or 4 years. Where is Kimimaro being balanced out here? And I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, Jack, there's quite a few shinobi that are Kage level. That doesn't really tell us much. Do we go low, medium, high Kage? Is that the best way to do it? And I was thinking, the way I want to tackle this is that I want to do a very short Kimimaro versus the current 5 Kage in the 4th Shinobi War. How do I think he would stack up against all the other Kage? In this fight, he still has Curse 2 state. He has all his Kekkei Genkai abilities and the abilities we've seen. We can assume that they're all more powerful because he's gotten stronger and he's not sick. And once again, not just like a little bit sick and unwell that's going to kill him, on death's doorstep. Moving through only sheer willpower. Before this, his body was paralyzed. So Kimimaro at that level, full power, fully healthy against each member of the 5 Kage. How do I think that would go? I think that he would defeat Tarumi, the 5th Mizukage, quite easily, if I'm being honest. I know that she gets shitted on so much, and it's not too fair. Like, she's a Kage level shinobi, but she can't do much against Kimimaro here because she has a lava style and she has a vapor style Kekkei Genkais. That's pretty badass having 2 Kekkei Genkais. But with Kimimaro has an ultimate defense like Gaara, being able to harden his bones, which once again, at death's doorstep, he was able to survive being crushed by an ocean's worth of sand. Sand that can completely obliterate a person's body. He survived that easily. So I think he can tank the lava style and vapor style to his body. I think he would go defense mode, shrug it off, maybe be a little bit hurt, maybe get some burns and stuff like that. And we know how fast he is. He's keeping up with Rock Lee of all people. And then be able to just move right into me and kill her with his bone swords, bone protrusions, and kill her pretty easily. There's no reason to think that Mei is very good or versed in taijutsu. when she's not using her Kekkei Genkai, she's only using other elemental ninjutsu. You would assume that her Kekkei Genkai is the strongest form of jutsu that she has. So I don't reckon she's putting up any real resistance to Kimimaro just taking her down effortlessly. Which I think's a little bit, a little bit full circle since his clan was wiped out by the Hit and Miss Village. So I think he W's May no difficulty. Now, let's make it interesting. Let's do Gaara next. I think fully potentialed healthy Kimimaro would beat Gaara again. If you wanted to say that Gaara in the desert, in the Hidden Sand Village, could beat him, that I would probably give you. Gaara is much stronger in the desert because he has a much bigger arsenal to play with, and he could get the better of Kimimaro there. But I like to do verse battles as if we were in like a tournament, like a Pokemon stage where they're battling, where it's just, kind of solid concrete type of thing. They're just fighting on that. No one has the area advantage. And I reckon Kimimaro would beat him. I reckon it'd be a much tougher fight than with May. But just with all his different arsenals and the fact that Gaara at this stage has lost Shukaku, now, he gains a little bit more control, but he also loses a huge amount of chakra reserves. So I reckon that Kimimaro would be able to beat him fairly easily. With how much he pushed him at death's doorstep, if we're just scaling both characters up, him full-powered, non-sick, I reckon he's beating Gaara pretty easily when it's not in the desert and when Gaara doesn't have Shukaku. That one there, I think, is maybe another talking point where people watching might have a little bit of a disagreement with me. Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to see where you would put that matchup. Now we get into the three more heavy hitters in the 5 Kage. I'm actually going to tackle Onoki first, because the Raikage and Tsunade are both taijutsu specialists, so that matchup with Kimimaro is going to be a little bit different. With Onoki, I consider him the strongest one out of the 5 Kage. His particle style would completely obliterate Kimimaro. It's a great jutsu because it forgoes defense. Your defense isn't going to work against it because you're being atomized here. So no matter how sturdy his defense is, Onoki's particle style will be taking Kimimaro out. He also has the power to make you weigh a lot more, the weighted boulder jutsu. Meaning if he touched Kimimaro and really, really weighed him down, he could do some serious immobilizing of his taijutsu abilities. And Onoki can fly, which means the 10,000 bone swords piercing through the ground would be ineffective against Onoki. However, Onoki is an old man. He's in his 80s. He's like 88 or something like that. And he does not, even though he can fly, he does not move as well as he could. I know it's a bit of a gimmick, but he does get, scenes where he gets a bad buck and he gets paralyzed. He has this even when he's fighting the Edo Tensei Mizukage. So it's definitely possible and definitely likely that his back would kind of give out and Kimimaro would just close the distance and kill him. But that one's a little bit different. You could even argue that with Kimimaro's speed, the particle style couldn't get to him and he could fire off his 10 digital piercing bone fingertip bullets to try and attack from mid-range. But with Onoki being able to fly, it kind of also boosts his mobility in dodging Kimimaro. I do think that this fight has a lot of asterisks next to it. You see, I kind of want to say Kimimaro would be able to beat him. And that's kind of hard to kind of comprehend because plot-wise, we all know that Onoki would beat him. Onoki's the one that's having all these great moments, hyping up the other Kage to get them ready, inspiring them to then fight Madara after they've all been beaten down. It's hard to be like, oh no, this kid that was fighting Naruto in part 1 would beat him. But with the sheer speed and quickness of him, I reckon that Kimimaro might just be able to cut down Onoki, to be honest with you. Now, you got to remember, there might be a lot of people watching going, Jack, you're an idiot. Fucking turning this shit off. He's stupid. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You've got to remember, when you're scaling Onoki, a lot of the stuff that he did in the war was through help of Gaara and the Raikage. He wasn't doing everything by himself there. So I think that a full-powered, healthy Kimimaro could get the better of him and take him down through his quick, lethal, high-speed taijutsu. One mistake though, one slip up, boom, particle style out of existence. So it's probably also one of those things where if they had 10 fights, he might only win 6 of them and lose 4 of them type of thing. But I think I would put a fully potentialed, healthy Kimimaro to beat an Onoki with no help from anyone else. I think I'm happy putting Kimimaro there. Against Tsunade and Raikage, this is going to be an interesting fight because I haven't thought about this. If you can't tell, these videos are all just off the cuff. I'm just shooting the shit. It's non-scripted. And I like it this way because it keeps things a little bit more original and keeps a little bit of individuality to it, especially in today's climate where so many things are AI, etc. like that. There's nothing AI about me, unfortunately. So I haven't even thought about how these two battles would go. I'm inclined to think that Tsunade would kind of be a draw, if that makes sense. The reason why I say that, because, sorry, Kimimaro doesn't have anything to be able to kill Tsunade. With Tsunade's 1000 healings technique, which he's going to have to use against someone as lethal close range as Kimimaro, and since Tsunade's all her attacks are close range, one punch, bone armor, boom, Tsunade pierces herself. She needs to go the mitotic regeneration route. So Kimimaro can stab away at her as much as he wants, but he's not going to be able to kill her. Conversely, Kimimaro has bone protrusions all around him and can harden the density of his bones to then protect himself from Tsunade's superpowered attacks, her brute strength attacks. So I think they'll just be going back and forth. Kimimaro can't kill her, and Tsunade can't kill Kimimaro thanks to his defenses. And what has to give here is their chakra reserves. Tsunade has larger chakra reserves than Kimimaro, but Kimimaro also has version 2 state that help boost him up a little bit. But his techniques would use less chakra than Tsunade's mitonic regeneration. So I'm happy to say that it's a draw. I feel like thematically, they go for one last attack. Kimimaro pierces her through the heart. Tsunade punches her fist through Kimimaru's chest as his chakra dissipates and the defenses, the bone density is weakened, and they kind of take each other out. Otherwise, even though Tsunade's a Senju, just with how quick Kimimaro would be able to cut away at her, and how all of her attacks would then be damaging her even more, I think that it would burn through so much chakra, and it would burn through it quicker than Kimimaro. So I'd say Kimimaro could even potentially beat Tsunade as well. And I know that just sounds so wild to say, but once again, this is just entirely subjective. In my head, I might be thinking, oh, Kimimaro is that's a level of strength that he couldn't possess. I think a good way to look at it is where you think Sasuke, that has just beaten Itachi, would sit against the 5 Kage. That's maybe another video we can do in the future. But also, his abilities work really well against the 5 Kage. Mei's not getting through his defenses. Gaara is probably the best matchup for him. Onoki is getting really struggling with Kimimaru's speed. Tsunade is literally a double-edged sword against him because she's just getting attacked more and more as she attacks him. But the Raikage, I think this would be Kimimaru's hardest fight because the Raikage would be faster than Kimimaro, meaning Kimimaru's speed advantage against the other 4 Kage are out the window here. The Raikage also has defenses that don't use massive amounts of chakra like Tsunade's mytonic regeneration, meaning he can defend against Kimimaru's bone attacks greater than Tsunade can, and he can clap back at Kimimaro. But in the same respects as Tsunade, I don't know how much damage the Raikage would be able to do to Kimimaro when he has his bone density defenses up. It's a tough fight. I think the dance of the lurch, the big spear sword on his arm, could probably get through and kill the Raikage. But the Raikage's too quick that even with the bone spine whip, I don't think he could utilize that move against the Raikage. The 10,000 bone spears that are coming from the ground I don't see how the Raikage can dodge that. He can be the quickest man in the show, but it's a massive AoE attack that he's going to get hit with. I guess he could maybe, jump up into the air, then he's vulnerable though in the air for Kimimaro to be able to shoot off some like digital bullets type of thing. It's a really tough fight, right? The Raikage though would have more chakra than Kimimaro as well. So we know this because his father, who he's scaling to roughly, at least they're comparative, was able to tangle with the Eight Tails beast, meaning Killer the Raikage is at like tailed beast levels of chakra. In fact, I don't know why they did even give that reasoning. Karin even says that about him. So he definitely has more chakra than Kimimaro. And here's my thing. I think Kimimaro is more lethal than the Raikage. I think if he gets a lucky shot, he would be able to kill the Raikage. But I think if it turns into a battle of attrition, that the Raikage is going to be able to last longer and beat Kimimaro that way. So that one I reckon is a draw too, for different reasons than Tsunade. At the end of the day, this video, I'm so sorry, this video is not about, specifically ranking Kimimaro with the Kage. It's just a nice exercise to kind of really pinpoint how strong I believe Kimimaro, fully potentialed and healthy, would be. And then you can scale, and if we scale them to the other Kage and where he might be sitting, it might be easier for everyone watching to be able to scale him to other characters, because we know those 5 Kage more than Kimimaro. So I wanted to kind of take a character that doesn't have much information about them and compare them with characters we know a lot about to help then scale them with the other characters in the verse. But let me know what you guys think. Am I totally crazy? Well, Jack, you've just wasted my time for 30 minutes talking about this superpowered person that isn't even in Naruto. You've just created an OC. But I like it. I like the thought process we went down here. I thought it was quite a good video. It was a lot of fun to talk about where he could be. The more I see Kimimaro, the more I need a one-piece bone devil fruit. That would go really hard. But guys, this is a video just was asked for me for 300 subscribers. It's not a lot for some people, but for me, being able to come on here, not high production value stuff, just being able to talk, to get my thoughts out, it's incredibly valuable to me, so thank you so much. Any other videos, I'm very much open to suggestions. I want to be able to make content that my audience is wanting to hear. So please, please, please feel free to mention in the comments other videos you'd like. I promise, assuming that it's not just a complete terrible idea. I mean, it can't be much worse than my ideas. I will put them in the pipeline to do. Maybe not in the next day or so, but in the future, they will definitely be there. But everyone, have a lovely night. Here's to 500.